In case you haven't noticed, things feel like they're changing across the spectrum. Everything is getting more automated. Human beings are becoming less important in the grand scheme of things if you believe what corporations are telling you. And because of all of this, a lot of industries are trying to evolve themselves. Gaming, however, kind of feels sort of stuck in this endless loop. And from everything happening recently, it feels like things are going to change, but is it for the better? It depends on who you ask. This video was inspired by something from Kotaku, which is this article titled, "The video game industry is not equipped to handle what comes next." And as they say below that, the player base has never been bigger, yet people are buying less. And why is that? The point that Kotaku makes earlier on is that when it comes to, say, movies, for example, there are alternatives to just one kind of movie. There are movies made for kids, while there are also movies made for adults too. No, not that kind of movie, but that does still track, I guess, but you get what I mean. Gaming, however, largely doesn't really have this. True, yeah, to an extent, there are kids' games, but at this point, even games made for kids in a sense, like Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, and more, they are being played by people of all ages. The Roblox one especially is kind of problematic. You probably know why, but let's just keep on going. But one of the examples that Kotaku brings up about games not being accepted like they used is High Guard. I don't need to explain this one very much. The game just didn't work. Tons of people got laid off on it. The game is dying already despite not even being a month old. You already know everything about this game, so you also likely know that recently as well, that Xbox has been like completely annihilated, and all its senior leadership was also forced out the door recently. This was confirmed by many websites, by the way, that the sudden retiring of Phil Spencer was not by choice. Instead, Phil was actually given an ultimatum, and he took the offer, and then he bounced. Sarah Bond, that's his second in command, who was meant to lead Xbox in the future, also got kicked out by force as well. And now, as Games Radar reported here, apparently the co-founder of Xbox is saying that the point of the new leadership isn't to actually usher in a new era of Xbox, but to sunset the entire brand so that it can finally die forever. And this ties into the whole point of the video, trust me, but the person who said this all is Seamus Blackley. So this is one of the original creators of the Xbox itself, and according to Seamus, it's really no surprise to him why Microsoft went ahead and removed Phil out of nowhere and then replaced him with Asha Sharma, that's the new CEO. According to Seamus, Asha Sharma wasn't chosen to lead Xbox into a new bold era. She was apparently picked because she has expertise in AI technology, and her job, according to Seamus, is to quite literally, his words, not mine, end Xbox for good. As seen here, Seamus confirms that himself. Again, whether he's right or not, I can't say, but the guy made the Xbox as in the brand and the console as well. So he's probably got some insider information considering what's going on here, so take that as you will. But Seamus Blackley believes that the reason for all of this is that Satya Nadella, that's the current CEO of Microsoft, specifically wanted someone who specializes in AI technology to run Xbox to change what that entire brand would be in the future. Here's exactly what Seamus Blackley said. I'll read it for you here. "I imagine asking somebody if it made sense to put a major motion picture studio into the hands of somebody who didn't like movies, or a major record label into the hands of somebody who'd never seen a live show. Why would you do that? You only do that if you're looking at the problem in a more abstract way. The natural consequence of the focus on AI is that AI abstracts every problem from the minds of the executives who believe in it. We're abstracting the problem of games as well. There's a core belief, and you can see it in what Satya Nadella said, that AI will subsume games like it will subsume everything." Seamus also stated that it doesn't matter what any one of us thinks about AI in any which way, the point is that it will become the future. He said more though, as it reads here, "It would have been shocking if they had somebody in there in a meaningful role who was passionate about games, passionate about the creator-driven business of games, because it would be in direct conflict with everything else Microsoft is doing." That's a crazy take, but I mean, he's probably right. The truth is that Xbox has been dying for a really long time now. And the moment they brought in an AI specialist to run the company, it made total sense to me what's really happening. They wanted to automate the entire process and remove humans from the equation to make it more profitable and be able to respond to what people want quicker. Seamus, however, believes that Phil Spencer was the last real, I guess for lack of a better word, gamer, I guess, who was anywhere close to controlling or leading Xbox in any which way. Seamus would then say this: "Microsoft is a company that is now about enabling its customers by enabling AI to drive things. That's at odds with the auteur model of any art, but specifically of games." Seamus believes that there's no stopping what happens next, and he believes that companies like Microsoft will go all in on AI, whether it's the right thing to do or not, as he says here. We're somehow subjugating the proven huge business as part of a strategy to prop up a business that we're not sure will work or not. That's weird. That's weird and I don't understand it, but obviously these guys are very sure-footed about it, sure enough that they're putting a huge amount of resources behind this. So we really went from executives saying that, guys, Xbox is going great, don't worry, we got plenty of really cool games coming, please be excited, to about in like a span of a week, honestly, that actually nothing's going great, yeah, we're dying, also we're sunsetting the brand pretty much. Now this ties into the overall arching question of this video, how the industry isn't really ready for what's coming next. But I know some people watching might ask, well, what then happens to Xbox, as in the studios behind it? The divisions, what happens to Bethesda, Obsidian, Blizzard, and so on and so forth? What? Microsoft just closes them all down and all this is lost? No, that's not going to happen. What I wager will probably happen is that Microsoft will use AI via, Asha Sharma as CEO and all that, to create a new, I guess, strategy or council of AI, if you will, that can determine the best avenues for what should be done in the future regarding Xbox. Like, for example, right, the council of AI, let's just call it, would immediately be able to scan the entire internet, see all the trends, what people want, what they don't want this or that in the game, and then as a digital boardroom of executives that don't exist, I guess, but answer to Microsoft, this council of AI would determine, okay, based on all this data we just combed through, these are the sorts of games people want. They want these sort of features. They don't want these sorts of characters or stories told. They hate this game mechanic, but they love this one instead. And then Microsoft's head of human people at the top, like Satya Nadella, etc., they will take all that information from their digital council of AI, and they will go, okay, the council told us that in terms of Blizzard's games, let's say, Diablo, WoW, StarCraft, etc., the fans of those games want these sorts of experiences, they hate these sorts of experiences, and so on. And then Blizzard can take that curated info and go, okay, Diablo 4 or whatever else needs to do this now. We need to invest resources to these sort of game mechanics. You get the idea. And the same with them happen to say, Obsidian, Bethesda, and so on. And this way, instead of a human being running Xbox, like a Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond, it's instead your council of AI, a never-ending group of supercomputers that never take a day off. They never call in sick, and they can comb through information at infinite times faster than, say, Phil Spencer could ever do in a week himself. This would mean that Xbox as a brand would likely die, as in the name, or be sunsetted, as Seamus would say, since already Satya Nadella, the CEO, and so on, have already actually been referring to Xbox as Microsoft Gaming instead. Likely, the Xbox, as in the console itself, would be ceased to exist. No more future consoles. It would end with Series X, presumably, I guess. Sure, Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer said that there is work being done on a future Xbox console, but they're gone now. You don't just remove the people who just basically spearheaded the future of your entire brand if you're not going to make some drastic changes. Likely, Microsoft realizes they don't make the money from the console. They make money from the content, the games I mean. So if they remove the console, which would require data chips in each system obviously, and with how much things are going for RAM and such that's so expensive these days, these consoles would then not be economically viable anyways. The better option is to just remove the Xbox and then just release games from Bethesda, Blizzard, and so on other platforms that are far more profitable, right? PlayStation, Nintendo, and Steam, which I personally consider the big three now for years already. So Xbox wouldn't exist. It would be Microsoft Gaming now instead, and Microsoft wouldn't have to pay a Phil Spencer or a Sarah Bond to lead the company. Instead, it would theoretically be AI number 1 through 16, all telling Satya Nadella social media really wants a remake of this game or that. Okay, we'll do it based on the info you gave us. You get the idea. So is that a viable option in the future? I mean, maybe. Is it also possibly an avenue where everything goes wrong as well? That's also very possible. But it is the epitome of the industry is definitely not ready for what's coming next. Because if they're controlled by computers, I wonder what the games will look like ultimately. Not only that, I wonder how many devs would just leave to find their own smaller studios that'd be free of that sort of thing too. But either way, it's crazy. But for now, Xbox is in the hands of a new CEO who, as you can see here, also recently admitted that her Xbox gamer tag, which is a month old by the way, wasn't even played by her alone. But instead, the account she uses, apparently she shares it with like her entire family. So yeah, she already admitted that she doesn't play games much anyways. But all those achievements on her account, pretty much, those are like probably gained by her brothers or like little sisters or cousins and nephews and whatever else. Not that any of this matters either way, since again, the entire brand is probably going to be replaced with a new direction anyways. And it's not just Xbox. I mean, even Sony PlayStation is currently trying to speedrun all their good faith as well when it comes to live service. We all saw the closure of Blue Point Games recently, the push for more games meant to be played forever, a complete 180 on Sony's part, pivoting from what players really wanted in the first place, which hasn't gone over the best. Sure, Helldivers did well, and Sony clearly wants 100 Helldivers-like games instead, but there just isn't enough people to play all of these games realistically. And when it's not live service games obliterating everything, there's there's the war for your attention too. I covered this in my previous video, so I'll be brief about it, but basically games in general are losing the war for your attention to gambling, crypto, adult content like OnlyFans as well. Is this really the time to believe the thing we need more of right now is live service games and digital consoles dictating what we want instead? In reality, what players mostly want is real tangible connections to the games that they play. The games usually considered the best of the past 10 years alone, it's not some multiplayer game, but a single player one instead. It's kind of crazy to me how quickly the people who control these companies and the industry as a whole sort of just forgot what people wanted. You know what I mean? Like, do we really have this hard of a time figuring out what people want these days? Is it not obvious that no matter how many times things may change, objectively, they do to some degree stay the same as well? That the same sort of ideas always resonate with us as human beings for a reason. It's why stories about love and finding the one, that resonates across generations, why stories about racial tensions tend to tug at people's heartstrings, or stories about revolution can mean something to someone no matter like what skin color or where they come in the world. It's just that to me, it feels like these companies have forgotten the human element of what makes these things special because they don't see the world as a human-led place anymore. It's just now the internet, digital connections. Ironically, Kojima was right when he made Death Stranding, because the lack of connection between people is still to this day one of the biggest problems that's eroding everything. Yeah, we are more connected than ever. Each of us are just a click away from one another to talk at any given time to check up on others. And yet most of us still don't bother to do it anyways. I can't even lie, I'm guilty of that too. The amount of time that has passed where I haven't checked up on people I considered close to me is honestly criminal, and I'm wrong to not have done that. I have no excuses. I have no reason to justify nothing. It's just, I know for me anyways, that I am becoming somewhat colder as a person, and maybe it's because of the world, or maybe it's just me. The fact that I look around and all I see is algorithms and titles and analytics as if the world is not dictated by human thought no more, but what some computer thinks instead. After all, I do YouTube for a living. I'm not gonna front with you guys. YouTube in 2026 has easily been the most challenging, difficult, and borderline infuriating has ever been for me thus far. Half the time, I don't know whether what I'm working on anymore is what I should be making, Does it resonate? Is it being suppressed? Am I doing something wrong? I don't know. But what I do know is that when I started YouTube in 2021 compared to now, like the games industry, even YouTube as a platform was much different than it is now. It feels colder now, feels less human. And I think what a lot of these bigwigs and these companies fail to see is that the thing that we're really missing, it isn't automation. It's not how can a council of digital people tell us what to make, when in actuality, you can just ask the developers what they want to make face to face instead at these companies already. But that's not good enough anymore, is it? Now we need to consult with these programs. Ask ChatGPT, hey, is this a good idea? What do you think of this? And then it gives you feedback. And maybe that's what's diluting a lot of this. Now look, okay, I'm not going to say that AI is bad. It isn't. It's like anything else, right? It's like saying a car is dangerous, but it's not. It's not the car's fault that it's dangerous. It's the people driving it after all. And when I look at Xbox or Sony and I see these companies that I championed at one time or another in my life, it just gets me thinking, like, where did this all go so wrong? You could go tell Sony right now, hey, it would be cool to have a new Infamous game, but to them, they would have to think, well, how long will it take to make? Will people buy it? Can we monetize it further? Is a superhero fatigue going around right now going to hurt this game's bottom line? So on and so forth. Whereas before, it was just, hey, we want to make a cool superhero game, and that was enough. If everything is made just for an algorithm, then what's the point, That's how the games industry feels like it's becoming. Well, every industry really, YouTube as well. It's just money, money, money. Nothing else really matters. YouTube right now is the same way, actually. It's all about shorts, AI moderation. It's not about the human element in YouTube's opinion anymore. I don't think in general we're ready for really what happens next across the board because all of it is heading down a path I don't think any one of us really wants it to. No wonder so many developers are leaving AAA to make their own indie studios. Maybe those developers, at least, were smart enough to see that things wouldn't get better, and they left before they were beholden to some monolith so that they could just make games again that they wanted to make. Circling back to the article that inspired this video, Kotaku references their own article from a few days ago as seen here too, where they say that based on reports, most PS5 players are still playing older games. I mean, can you blame them? I mean, currently, I'm playing Dragon Quest 1 and 2 Remake myself. I beat the first one already. I'm currently working on the second one myself. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, mostly because it's just a traditional video game. Basic turn-based combat, run around the map, help people, sail on your ship, fight some monsters, level up, find the mini medals and more. You get the idea. Yeah, I know, it's a pretty simple game, but I like it. I want to go back and play also the older Final Fantasy games again this year too, for really no other reason than because I miss them. I miss that era of games. I don't care anymore about battle passes or super great graphics or anything else. I just kind of want to be left alone when I play video games. I don't want to be beaten over the head with modern day stuff. I just want to play a game, get lost in it. I mean, when I look at the future, yeah, I'll play Resident Evil 9, Crimson Desert, Lords of the Fallen 2, and Kenna 2 as well. But beyond those games, I kind of feel like the best games I played are probably all behind me already. I remember replaying all of the From Software games back in, I think it was 2022. I platinumed them all. Like, that was the mission for me that year. And I think when I replayed Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and so on, honestly, it felt like my brain chemistry just kind of changed, if I'm being honest. Like, I played these games that didn't hold my hand. They didn't talk down to me either, which was a big plus. They didn't try to ask to, nickel and dime me. They just existed. The year after or so, I then went back and replayed the entire Batman Arkham trilogy. Platinumed those all too, because again, that was my goal that year as well. And oh my god, dude, going back to those old Batman games, they didn't age a second since they released over 10 years ago. Batman Arkham Asylum and City especially, those games, they felt like time capsules for the years that they came out in, There's like no fat on those games. It's just all banger, no filler. Even Arkham Knight. I don't think I've played a game so amazing to play than Arkham Knight in a very long time. Every control is just polished to a shine. It truly is like the ultimate Batman game, isn't it? Sure, okay, yes, the boss battles aren't the best, I admit. The story near the end with the reveals were kind of take it or leave it. But like the mechanics of the game, the world, the combat in Arkham Knight, the way they used every single button on that controller to do something cool all at once, like it was just insane. And you had the super versions of say the Batarang or the Batclaw in combat, spraying explosive gel down as you leaped over a criminal, then you Batclawed this other guy, to then toss a super Batarang, knocking out another dude, to then counter the next two guys that has its own unique animation, by the way. And then you can like call in the Batmobile to just like sit beside you and give you assists while you're in melee combat. Like, hello? What? Did you know there's even finishers that you can activate on enemies in Arkham Knight where Batman uppercuts a dude and then your Batmobile will hit the guy in midair with like an anti-personnel round, knocking him out? Like, how cool is that? We used to have cool games like this all the time. Now it's here or there, they still do exist, but it's not as plentiful as the point. Those Batman games, the From Software ones even, they weren't made better because an algorithm told them to make them that way. Or some bigwig at Sony went, this is good, but it needs a battle pass. They were good because the people who made these games, they loved video games and they loved the art of making them. And you as the player, you could feel that yourself when you played it. Even Zelda Breath of the Wild. Look, I'm not a big Zelda fan, okay, I admit that, but even me, when I first played Breath of the Wild on Switch back in 2017 when it came out, it was like, oh my god, I get it now. Like, I get it. I understand why Zelda fans are annoying about how much they love the series. Breath of the Wild was just insane. Like, what do you mean I can freeze the water into a block, climb and jump on top of it, and then jump to the other side of this raging river that I couldn't cross otherwise? What do you mean my sword's metal blade can conduct electricity to connect 2 points for power? What do you mean if I raise my sword to the sky during a lightning storm, no less, time it, and then toss my sword at an enemy group, that Mother Nature will literally lightning strike the sword in mid-air, exploding it and killing all the monsters around it? Like, all of these games and more, they didn't feel like some committee sat around and went, yeah, we will make this because the council of whatever said that we can. It just felt like stuff being made because human beings wanted to make it. So when I look at the industry and I see so much wrong with it, activists, yes, greedy executives also, sunsetting entire platforms that people invested thousands of their dollars and time into, it's like these people don't care about any one of us, do they? If they could, they would sell us the worst slop possible for $100 as long as they could get away with it, wouldn't they? None of these changes that happened in 2026 so far abruptly for either gaming, YouTube, social media, whatever, has really been for the better. Like, even on YouTube, right? You have to watch what you make. Like, what if the algorithm won't like my video or the topic? What if it labels my video as AI slop randomly, or considers my video or channel not right in that moment over nothing else that I can do to save it? But it's the same with games now. The best games made aren't being okayed by corpos. They're being made by smaller teams for a reason, because the actual good games would never exist if they had to go through some massive company with a million managers, all answering to the other manager above them before they could then make a decision or not. It's weird. You know what I mean? It feels weird. It looks weird. It sounds odd. It feels bad. It's just not right, is it? The amount of content even on YouTube being made by some guy using ChatGPT, like, that worries me too. All of it does. I mean, all of it, man. All of it. We're kind of just losing what makes us human. And instead of realizing this and doubling down on the people who make the cool things, the companies are pivoting in the wrong direction. Oh, what's that? You want a single-player Batman game again that isn't full of modern deisms, a cash shop, or anything else? Well, best we can do right now is just put Batman in Fortnite and then charge you $25 for it. Sorry, bud, but that is how it is. So is it really any wonder why people are playing older games usually? Not really, but it frustrates me that the people in the suits, drinking their expensive drinks in the boardrooms, are not looking at games like anything but something to be sold, instead of something to create and enjoy. I kind of worry about Steam as well, I gotta be real. Like, what's gonna happen to Steam once Gabe Newell finally walks into the sunset himself? Is he really the only thing keeping that company from becoming like Super Saiyan Activision pretty much? Kotaku brings up also at one point that the most people with disposable income are just kind of sleeping right now on games until like the next big thing releases. Maybe that's Crimson Desert, probably Resident Evil. It's definitely going to be Grand Theft Auto 6 though. But if the majority of people aren't willing to buy new games, how do you entice them then? I mean, Nintendo is doing fine, like usual. And let's say a video game crash does happen, they'll be the ones who will be mostly fine because they control and own all of their own games in their own ecosystem. But everyone else isn't that lucky. For them, exclusives can't work. Everything is now multi-platform. It's too expensive and risky otherwise. A complete and total disaster that nobody seems to want to fix, or maybe they just don't know how to. But Kotaku ends their article with this: if this industry wants a future for itself, it needs an ecosystem that everyone can participate in for the long haul, from first steps to 1 foot in the grave. That requires an inclusive approach that is very alien to its foundations. Those players will need a way to discover more than the next live service game, finding the gaming equivalent to Sesame Street, Smiling Friends, and Saturday Night Live all on the same idiot box. Edutainment and courtroom dramas alike, the player base is huge, bigger than ever growing. They won't all fit into the next Fortnite. I think the industry needs to come to terms with the fact that nobody wants the future that they're selling us. It's really no surprise why you see younger people using camcorders to record footage when they go out to parties or events and whatever else. I mean, yeah, they could use their phones, but the camcorder makes it more personal for them, the same way they're taking Polaroids still. Why things like vinyls made a comeback. Why kids these days are unironically dressing like I did when I was a kid, because apparently 90s is back in fashion, I guess? Like, you're telling me that the way I dressed listening to Metallica and Linkin Park and Il Nino and such is in style again? Like, God, I'm old, man. But look, like, the industry may not be ready for what's coming next because they're refusing to admit that they've been wrong for so long already. If you want video games to make the comeback that you desire, we need to bring back the human element first. And again, I'm not saying that AI is bad, but can we agree, for example, that the reason why you even watch my content, for example, is because it's me, not some random robot or whatever? It's me, right? Like, that's YouTube as well. It's about the people who make the content. That's what makes a platform so cool. Until the companies realize they need this cold future to warm up a little bit, people will continue to run to the past for their entertainment. They'll continue to ignore games for other avenues because why bother, right? If your needs aren't being met, the only logical conclusion is to seek them elsewhere. But what do you think? Maybe I'm being too down on myself even, but let me know either way. I have hope for the future. Call me an optimist, I know, but I refuse to give up. I just can't accept that things can't get better, because that's what life is all about, isn't it? We have to keep pushing. We can't give up. We have to keep moving forward no matter what. We have to remind the world that this place is beautiful and brighter because we're all on it, even if these companies want to erase that. But subscribe if you want to. Thanks for being here, and see you when I see you.